Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to be updating you a little bit on some new products that I've got. Some of these things I actually had on hand back when I did that Get Ready With Me video a couple videos ago, but I obviously couldn't use everything like all in one sitting on my face. I guess I could have. It would have been an interesting look, I'm sure. But I wanted to kind of just go ahead and fill in the blanks here and share some of those other items that I didn't get to use there. And I've also got some things from Sephora, a few things I picked up while on vacation, and so I thought it'd just be fun to sort of update the whole situation here. So I'm going to start out with drugstore things, and first off, I got a couple of these City Mini palettes from Maybelline, and of course, you know, this happens a lot in the drugstore. We see things kind of get recycled in different lines in certain ways, and with these, I feel like these are definitely like the formula that's in their iStudio quads, just recycled into a little bit larger palette, you know, different configuration, different mix of colors, but it's a formula that I believe we've seen before from Maybelline, and I do like it. You know, these are smooth shadows. They're lightweight, but really quite pigmented. This reminds me a lot also of the formula that Covergirl is using in their True Naked palettes. Like they've got the golden one, the nude one, the rose one, and this is a lot like that. This palette in particular that I'm holding, the Rooftop Bronzes, reminds me a lot of the Covergirl True Naked Goldens palette. But I've got that one here, and this is what I've used on my eyes today. And I'm just really convinced that this is that same kind of silky, lightweight, yet still pigmented formula. Very easy to blend. I've got some of this shade and this shade on my lid. This color in the crease, which is about as soft as it gets, I guess, shimmer-wise, but there's still definitely shimmer in this shade, in this palette. A little bit of this in the outer corner as well. And I also used this shade with a liner brush, this deepest brown, just kind of right in there, in with my lash line, and the look is, you know, good enough. It's fine. This is a pretty common assortment of shades, I think, and for the fact that you're not getting anything really matte in here, that might be a problem for some people, and it's, you know, a little bit of a drawback for me as well, because when you do have a matte, or like at least one dark or medium matte shade, that's where you can really start creating some contrast with the look. And I think sometimes when everything's shimmery, you have to be careful about like not over blending and mixing too many of the shades right in with one another, because then it can start to look a little more muddy. Anybody know where I'm coming from with that? So anyway, I think this is a nice formula from Maybelline. Maybe not always an ideal like mix of shades or mix of finishes, but if you're thinking about running out and purchasing these because you think you're getting something brand new and different from Maybelline, it really, to me, seems like their iStudio quad formula. And so did I say this is Rooftop Bronzes, and this is Chill Brunch Neutrals? Yes, I mean, when I look at that palette, I think brunch. This one actually has a couple of shades with that dusty lilac and the white or like kind of beigey cream color here that aren't quite so shimmery, so that's kind of nice to see. But then you've got some really sort of sparkly takes on taupe there, very sparkly champagne, and then a deep sort of metallic plum right down here. So those are just a couple of the shades that were offered, and there may have been like another 3 or 4 in that line. Another new eyeshadow thing that I saw, and I believe I got these on Ulta's website, they are the L'Oreal Infallible Paints Metallics. You may have seen my L'Oreal Infallible Paints video. I did a huge video talking about so much stuff, like all of those double-ended cream Infallible Paints shadows, the liners, the lip colors. They've got some really cool things in this Infallible Paints line, and now we're seeing some powders. I chose to get Violet Lustre and aluminum foil because I thought the shade called aluminum foil will really tell me like what this line is made of, and it is a truly shiny, like wet looking glow there. I mean, get out of town. Stand by for the extreme close-up. Mamacita. Oh, yep. That's nice. I think I'm just gonna do this all day just for the rest of the video. Just let the light bounce off this color. Is this therapeutic to anyone else? I don't know though, guys. I'm slightly underwhelmed by the purple. I have not used these on my eyes yet. The way they build up on the eyes might be a bit of a different story. I don't know, it's not an unpigmented purple. It's a very like soft lilac-y kind of color. I'm not hating it, but it certainly had a tough act to follow with that aluminum foil color. So this may be a line worth, you know, looking into. I have been really impressed, like I said, with the other things in this Infallible Paints line. Now they got some powder shadows and they came to party. Now, talking about drugstore mascaras, I have mentioned, I feel like several times, the Voluminous Lash Paradise from L'Oreal. I've enjoyed this mascara very much. I think it gives great length, thickness, holds my curl. Not my favorite thing to wear on the lower lashes because depending on, I don't know, my activity level, the amount of humidity in the air, I'm not sure what it is exactly. I have seen a little bit of smudging on the lower lash line with this one, so just be aware of that. But on the upper lashes, it's freaking awesome. The other new mascara I've been trying a little more recently is this Total Tease from Covergirl. And I have had like a great experience with Covergirl Super Sizer Mascara, so I was pretty eager to test this puppy out. And the brush is really interesting. You've got this flat end of the wand, which really is basically bare from bristles. Then there are bristles on the bottom and this flared out kind of like ball on the end designed to really catch the lashes that are hard to reach. And I think it works great for that. I was actually quite happy with the way that was able to pull out like my inner lashes. I just barely touched it to my outer lashes too, like right over here. And I was like, wow, I think this could be a really nice wand for people who are like me and you're not a wrist flipper. You know what I mean? Like you got this eye, this right eye with the right hand, and then you go over to the left eye, and I don't feel comfortable doing that with my hand. Some people are probably really good at it, but I, for whatever reason, come in like this. And that is a situation where a brush like this makes it so easy to just get all over the place. It kind of reminds me of when L'Oreal put out that, I think it was called Telescopic Explosion or something, and it was sort of their take on the Givenchy mascara with the little ball end, and it was just the ball at the end. And honestly, it worked really well for catching those hard to reach areas. The formula reminds me of CoverGirl Super Sizer quite a bit, actually, but I'm kind of wondering if either I applied too much product and they got a little weighed down, because the curl holding nature of this doesn't seem to be quite as good as it has been with the Voluminous Lash Paradise. I did do 2 coats on each eye, and that may have not been totally necessary, so I'm gonna experiment with maybe applying a little bit less of this. But I'm shocked. It's pretty rare that I like try 2 random new mascaras and they both actually seem to do pretty great things for my lashes, so I'm impressed with both of these. Okay, from Sephora, I've got a few things that were online and some things that I picked up at the cutest little Sephora that I found in Destin while we were down there vacationing. And the first things I'll mention are these products here from Bareminerals. They have come out with, what is the exact name? Statement Matte Liquid Lip Color. Now the Gen Nude liquid lip colors that they had, I thought were the best, most comfortable liquid lipsticks, period. I mean, I just love those. Great texture. They are truly matte, but they don't feel drying. They're easy to apply. They feel like absolute velvet going across the lips. So nice. And I remember saying in a video, not that Bareminerals like specifically logged onto my video or anything and heard what I had to say, but I remember saying like, gosh, it would be great to have this formula in some brighter shades. And now they've come out with this statement line. And so I have 2. I got one called Flawless, which it's nice. It's a pretty shade, don't get me wrong, but it does seem maybe a little bit close to a couple colors I might already have from their nude line. I'm not saying it's not a statement color, but they did have some colors that were kind of like that, you know, mauve-y rose already, but I like to have it, you know, it's great. And then the color that I've been wearing throughout this video is called Fire, and this is just yummy. Like, I think of this as a tomatoey red. Does that description speak to anyone else? You know, like a little bit of a warm red happening there. It's so nice. These just feel so good. They smell a little bit like the Bonnie Bell lip lights in Cappuccino. Have I said that description before? I feel like I've described something as that not too long ago. It might have been these when I first tried them. Such a specific scent description there, but they're very pleasant. I just enjoy wearing them. They feel great on the lips. If you like a matte and you like a liquid type format, you might really enjoy these. However, the one thing you're gonna have to give up a little bit on this, if you really like the idea of a non-transferable lip product, You can pull some of this stuff off your lips. I still think it's very long wearing, but I mean, it doesn't completely 100% set. That being said, it's gonna feel more comfortable on your lips. So I really enjoy those. I'm so excited to see that they've come out with more colors. I also splurged and I got a new palette from Viseart. It's actually not a new palette in their line. They've had it for some time. I have looked at this a lot and finally decided to go ahead and get it. It is their Paris Nude palette. Ooh, it's so pretty. I love the way they do their shimmery formula. I mean, I like their mattes as well, but they've got just some stunning shimmers. And look how, I don't know, just muted and pretty this is. See, when the shades aren't in direct light, they can look decently deeper. And I think that's something to keep in mind with this palette, because what you see head on in full light may not be the way it behaves like in the creases of your eyes where things are getting a little more shadowed. I have only just one time played with this palette, so it needs a lot more time and attention from me. But what it kind of made me think of as I was deciding whether or not I wanted to get it, it feels like the lighter take, or like the baby sister to the Sultry Muse. Like, do you see some similarities across these two? This one a little more rich and more intense, and this one is just like lighter and airier, but they have some similar color tones happening across the two. So I'll be interested to play more with this and let you know what I think. I really want to do more on the larger Viseart palettes that I have. Also, I felt like trying a new BB cream, and I thought I would go for this one from Bobbi Brown. It is the BB cream. Like, could the packaging be any more just basic? Black tube, no frills, BB cream, SPF 35, and I have it in the shade Natural. I'm wearing it today. I also have, you know, concealer and powders and other stuff on my skin, but this is really, really lightweight. Like, it's a nice little level of moisture, but coverage wise, it's definitely nowhere close to the IT Cosmetics. I'm not really knocking it because of that, because I don't know, the IT Cosmetics is really exceptional in that way. I wasn't looking to like try an identical product. I expected this would be different. For as light of coverage as this is, I mean, my skin does look pretty good. I can see most everything, you know, like just little freckle wise and stuff like that. But I don't know, I just got that kind of underwhelmed feeling right after I put it on. For as pricey as this was, I don't know, I guess I was expecting just a little bit more, but I can't really argue with the way my skin looks now. I think it looks pretty darn good. So I'm gonna keep this in the rotation. This is a very summertime friendly product. I'm gonna get my use out of this, and apparently while I was on that little Bobbi Brown train, I decided to cash in some Sephora points and get this Bobbi's Cult Favorites kit. I think this was a 500 point item, and this is what's inside. You're getting a lipstick, a mini bronzer, it's a mini lipstick too, by the way, mini mascara, mini shadow stick, and a mini eye cream. Knew I liked the eye cream. That was the only thing out of that bunch that I do have experience with. Comes in an adorable little box like this. There are some really good things in this kit, you guys. I love this bronzer. I'm wearing this today. It's in the shade medium too. Does that strike anyone as being like a bit cooler than you might have expected for a bronzer? And I've got it like around the perimeter of my face. I've got this really like tanned zone right here on my forehead, and I don't know, applying some bronzer across that sort of helps it mesh with the rest of my skin. This is nice, works great as a contour. That's a very contour friendly color on my skin. Don't know if I said, but it is totally matte in terms of like a really nice glowy bronzer that I'm loving, like really super impressed with right now. This Too Faced Sweet Tea I think is awesome. But anyway, back to the Bobbi Brown stuff. The other thing I love from this kit, this lip color in Brownie is so pretty. I was wearing this on Snapchat, Instagram. Goodness gracious, could this color work for anyone? I'm thinking, yeah, it's no shimmer, just creamy, feels really nice. Bobbi Brown's got a great lipstick formula, so I love having that in the kit. This Longwear Cream Shadow Stick is in the shade called Sand Dune, and it's actually kind of matte. I think it's a fully matte shade. I mean, I used that earlier in the week, and I just put it in my crease and sort of blended it out with my finger and a brush and just smoothed it out all over. And I think that's a really cool product. It's very long wearing. I don't have a lot of shadow sticks that aren't just like straight up shimmer bombs. You know, so many shadow sticks are. So this was nice to just easily pop in my crease. And then I put a little bit of the Viseart Paris Nudes like on top of the lid, and it was a very nice look. Last thing that you get is the Smoky Eye Mascara. I feel like maybe I have tried this before. before. It didn't work any miracles for my lashes, kind of straightened them out a little bit curl-wise, but everybody's lashes are different, and that might be a fantastic mascara for someone. But all in all, happy with that kit. Really think it was worth the points to get that. I got a couple of Sephora brushes while on vacation. I got this Pro Airbrush Concealer brush, and beforehand I had mentioned, I think, that I really enjoyed this Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush. Like, this is a nice size for so many different things on the face, whether it's blending out foundation, dabbing over concealer, doing a contour, just a really interesting brush there. And so I saw this one in person. Obviously it's the full-size brush, and I thought, you know, this seems a little different from some other brushes that I have. Like, I have a lot of Sigma brushes that are about this size, but not quite as full. And so I use this for concealer today. I've been using it quite a bit, actually. It blends really nicely. It's super soft. I think I'm going to get a lot of good out of this brush. And I also thought it might be nice for some cream highlight, perhaps. So we'll test that too. And then, you guys, I don't know really what I was thinking here. I was completely drawn in by the packaging. I was in this like vacation haze of, oh yeah, I'm on vacation. Let's buy a commemorative product by which to remember this vacation. I don't know. I saw this little eye set. I think it was called the Ready in 5 eye set. And look at these peachy nude colored brushes. Oh, I'm making excuses here. This was not a total necessity given the brushes that I have, but you know, I thought it might be fun to try, and I've been using this a little bit. I'm kind of not quite comfortable with it yet. You know, like, you get really in tune with certain eye brushes that you use all the time. You know what they're going to do. You just know how they're going to perform, and these are really new to me. Like, I'm getting used to the length and all the movement that crease brush has. It comes to a little bit of a point, and I did my eye look with these today, and it did a nice job. You know, it's just very long. There's quite a taper going on here, so you can kind of get some product in the crease and then blend it out a bit. This brush here, the all over shadow, you know, it's got some flatness to it, but yet it's very tapered also. It's like a flattened out version of my E25 from Sigma. So it does kind of, you know, boost some shadow up into the crease, but it was pretty good on the lid. Can't argue with this little angled liner brush. You know, it's stiff enough, but not like hard and scratchy, and I was able to put some shadow kind of as liner right along the lash line, and really like the smudge brush. Dense, soft, but really effective at getting shadow like right along the lower lash line. So I think I ran into some good brushes here. Definitely good quality. They're gorgeous to look at. Something about those shades and how each brush is a different color. You don't see that a lot with brush sets. And then they come in this thing. Each brush has its own little slot here, and the holder, this just comes over and slips right down. It's cute. It's really cute. It might make a nice little gift idea for someone, or like you're making a little bridesmaid gift and you pop something like this in, and maybe your dress colors for your wedding were peaches and rose. Wouldn't that be cute? It's a very specific scenario there, but you know, it could work. Last but not least, I got this Clinique Moisture Surge Intense. I had tried to get this quite a while ago, like as a sample, and they gave me just the regular Moisture Surge, which I have and I like, but I wanted to try the Intense. It says for very dry to dry combination skin, and I've heard Tiffany D mention this as a nice like makeup prep step, and it is really nice in that way. I see what she means, because it's very smoothing to the skin. It's moisturizing, but not in a sticky way, but it's really, really hydrating for the skin. So I got this big old tub of that, and I was glad to have found it in person and make sure I was getting the right one. And then I got a couple of masks. I've tried, I think, only the rose mask from Sephora. I got a great set of Sephora masks, and I gifted them to my sister for Christmas time. I myself have been wanting to try some more, so I got the Pearl Face Mask, which is, gosh, it said on the whole display what they're supposed to be. I think this one's supposed to be brightening. Oh duh, perfecting and brightening. And then I got the pomegranate, which is anti-fatigue and energizing. So I love a good sheet mask, because is there anything easier than just popping it on? Then you don't even have to do the rinse. You know, you just kind of let that serum and stuff seep into your skin. Really nice. And that is it for my haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely some winners in this video, and I am so loving this lip color, this fire. That's so nice for summer, is it not? Thank you guys again, and I will see you soon. Bye.